What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. Stephen Clark here with Dylan Engler, the Rim Report. Movers and shakers. Another week. We had to take a week off. Dill was out of the country. Dill, how was your trip out to the Bahamas and to IMG?
It was really good. Bahamas is eye-opening, man. We're really blessed out here, Steve, and I'm excited that we can do this as a hobby, something that we really enjoy, and I love doing it with you. Bahamas was great. IMG, tough loss to IMG, 1 point loss, but then we bounced back and beat a really tough Central Florida team by 1 point. So we'll take it. We'll take it 1-1 on the week, but two really big games, and we've actually moved up into the top five in the nation. So we're peaking at the right time, Steve. I'm feeling good about where the team's at.
Nice, nice. Well, let's just jump right into it. A lot has changed since you've been back in the country. Um, Michigan taking the top spot again once in the season, 24-1. Only that one loss to Wisconsin at home. What do you think of this Michigan team? Getting pretty much every single vote, almost unanimous number one overall. Are they the best team in the country, like hands down at this point?
Yeah, I honestly don't even know how there was another vote for Houston in general. This is quite clearly the best team in the nation. Is it my favorite pick to win March Madness? I don't know. I think there's a lot of sneaky underdogs that can get there, but I mean, this Michigan team is red hot. Like you said, Steve, the only blemish on the entire schedule is their one loss at home versus a Wisconsin team that has proven to beat some really big teams. So it's just a team that's so deep. They have so many different weapons, and they're kind of spearheaded by a very old and veteran Yaxel Lenberg. So they kind of have the perfect mix of new transfers and returners. We've said this a billion times before, but I think this team's legit, Steve. I think they have more than proven that they are the best team in the nation.
Yeah, going on to number two, Houston. I mean, kind of a team I think we've talked about all season that we've always been high on them, and we've always thought them like with taking the loss to Tennessee earlier in the season. Having that one loss on the record, we were like, like they threw them down to like 8 or 9, and we were just like, man, like they're better than 8 and 9, and then losing on the
Yeah.
road to Texas Tech with Kingston Flemings dropping 40, like 2 weeks ago they were in 8, and now they're up to 2. Wins at BYU, at Utah. Kind of a couple cupcakes with Cincinnati and TCU and Kansas State and stuff, but man, they got their work cut out for them coming up. They got Iowa State tonight. They got Arizona, and they got at Kansas. Probably the top, them included, probably the top four in the league right now. How do you expect Houston to come out of this 3-game stretch?
If you go 2-1, I mean, you are on top of the world. 1-2 is probably expected here. If you somehow pull out 2 wins here, it's money. Yeah, Steve, I think that we know what we're talking about, man. We told everybody this is a top 3, 4, 5 team in the nation. They've proven it so far. We said that they were a little bit underrated when they were ranked 8th all the way 2 weeks ago, but yeah, this team is really good. And the one thing that's really surprised me is the defense hasn't been top 3. They're 5th right now in KenPom, but the offense consistently around that 10 range. And if this Houston team can consistently be at 10 offensively, dude, I don't know who's stopping them, man. I really don't. I really don't.
Yeah, definitely a well-balanced team, too, with a lot of veterans still on the team, with Emmanuel Sharp and Uzan and Joseph Tugler. Like, having those 3 core guys and then having Chris Senac and Kingston Flemings come into the mix as freshmen, I think, as they're starting to find themselves together. I mean, what am I talking about? Like, they're 23-2. Like, they've already found themselves, but I think this
Yeah.
is a team, especially with how the season ended last season, losing in the finals and not having Juwan Roberts back, obviously, but like returning a lot of those key players, like they obviously like have a mission that like they want to get back to the national championship. So I think as of right now, I think
Yeah.
they would probably be my bet to win it all. But I guess we'll see when we
I
get
love that.
when
I
we
love
get
that.
closer to selection day and stuff like that. I guess we'll get a better look. Next
Yeah.
3: Duke, Arizona, UConn. Arizona dropping down from one. They've kind of held number one spot for as long as we can remember. dropping down to 4 now. It all started with the loss at Kansas early last week, and I texted you and told you like that was literally the best game I've seen all season. Like the amount of
Yeah,
fight that was in both teams, like man, like that was just such a hard fought game, with all inside, like all in the paint. You know that big for Arizona. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Krivas.
Karchenkov, Ivan Karchenkov. Oh, yeah, yeah.
No, yeah, Krivas. I mean, like, talk about a team like that is just absolute bruisers inside with Krivas and Koa Pete, and then you got Toby Awaka off the bench. Like, they're
Dude, he's a dog.
stacked in the front court, and then Jaden Bradley. Like, I'm just thinking about all these different spots for them, and like, I guess maybe like where they're lacking is like some wings. Like they got the inside
Hmm.
presence, they've got the point guards with Jaden Bradley and Braden Burries, but like Anthony Del Rosso, I guess you could say, is like their best wing.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
To be honest, I think you're a little bit higher on this team than I am. Here's a fun fact that I didn't realize until I think yesterday. If just this is completely just I'm just genuinely asking you, if you had to say who has the best season up until this point, what team do you think has had the best season up until this point?
It's either them or Michigan.
Okay, so I would personally say Michigan, but yeah, Arizona is up there for. Dude, Michigan has not been ranked number one for the entire season. Isn't that crazy? They
That's a
have
little
not been number one
crazy.
all season.
Well,
I could have sworn they were number
I
one.
mean, Arizona was undefeated until last week. I'm not gonna knock
Yeah, no, I know.
them down until they lose. So I mean,
Yeah,
looking at their resume though, like wins at UConn, against Florida when they were preseason top three, against UCLA, Auburn, Alabama, BYU, like they had some very good wins.
yeah.
But you could argue that their schedule to start Big 12 play has definitely been lacking. Like they played all of the bottom teams. They ran the tables. Like I think they would have picked up this first loss earlier had they played a Kansas, a Texas Tech, a BYU, a Houston, like one of those teams earlier. But still a strong team. Like I definitely this is a Final Four team in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. No question, they have the ability to do that. Here's my problem. I think they know their identity, and their identity is bruisers and get the ball inside. My problem is that the 3-point shooting is lacking, and in today's college landscape, 3-point shooting is so important. And I think teams are starting to figure out how to guard them better. In their first loss against Kansas, six made threes. Like six made threes is not going to win many ball games. And then the second game against Texas Tech, four made threes. I think these teams are starting to figure out a little bit on how to guard the Wildcats. And again, I mean, Texas Tech and Kansas are really good ball clubs. Like these are, they're kind of expected to, I mean, at least be close games. But the 3-point shooting is worrisome. The lack of wing depth is worrisome as well. So I don't know. I think they are not the number one team in the nation. I think they're probably four or five, personally.
Yeah, I mean, you say six made threes against Kansas, like they're 40%, only 15 taken. So I think they're capable. I mean, Braden Burries is definitely their 3-point shooter. I definitely agree. Like down the stretch, that is a issue when you think about who is going to make a shot and who's going to be taking these threes. Like I know
Yeah.
late in that game when Arizona was trying to get back in it, and they got that steal and Braden Burries hit the three. Like they were talking on the
Yeah.
commentary, they were like, "Man, like who's gonna take these threes?" Because
Yeah. Yeah.
Koa Pete, Krivas, and Jaden Bradley, they're not like necessarily 3-point shooters at all. So yeah, I definitely
Right.
agree with you there. Like down the stretch, that's going to be an issue with a team. They meet someone who can combat their size. And credit to Kansas too. Like not a team that has a ton. Like they got Badunga, but no one else other than that. Tiller's a really kind of a perimeter big, but
Stretch, yeah, I agree.
um,
It is. I am a little worried about them though. Koa Pete. I don't know if you've seen Koa Pete is out for at least a little bit with a lower leg injury. So I don't know how they're
wow,
going to play with that, but
I did not know
yeah, we'll see.
that. All right. Well, we spent a while on them. Short question for you: worried about UConn at all after the loss at St. John's or no?
Yes, I am. I haven't been a fan of this UConn team. I don't think all year. Their Ken Palm stats are awful. I think they're
What?
8, 9, 10 in Ken Palm. Um, I don't think they. I don't think they're a Final Four team. I think they're a good team. I think they're probably in the 9, 10 range for me.
Interesting. That is a very interesting. I like them. I really like them. I think they're definitely in the top echelon like tier for me. Just like
Sure.
having the depth of guard play with that's experience like solo ball, um, Silas Demery Jr., Malachi Smith coming off the bench. Um, like I like this team, and Braylon Mullins has definitely stepped onto the scene with his 3-point shooting ability,
Yep.
and
Yep. Yep.
yeah, I like this team. I think they're gonna kind of walk through the Big East a little bit. And I think they'll probably end up getting a 1 seed if I had to guess.
Yeah.
I think they're definitely will be a favorite to
That,
win
that's
their
my
regional.
problem though. Is they my problem is they haven't been walking through the Big East. Like they have two overtime wins, one against Providence, one against Villanova, and then they've had multiple like 6 or 4 point wins against like DePaul, Providence, Georgetown. They won by 2. Like it's just been like some really close, scary games for them.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. Um, let's go down to let's talk about Purdue a little bit. Kind of an again lot of ups and downs this season with a lot of these teams. Purdue had that 3-game skid at UCLA, home against Illinois, at Indiana, and it was like, man, like everyone was just like on Twitter and Instagram, man, this isn't the same Purdue team. Like they can't compete with the top tier of teams
Yeah.
that are here right now, and they've slowly rattled off 4 great wins. At good one win at Nebraska, good win at Iowa. They've got Michigan at home tomorrow in Mackey Arena. That's going to be a great game. You think?
Yep.
Think really my question to you would be: they're third in the Big Ten right now. Like, do you think they still have a chance to, I guess, upset Michigan winning the regular season?
Good question, Steve. Do they have a chance? Yes. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. I think Michigan's just too has too much firepower. I don't even think they're. I don't know. I think Purdue has finally come back on the scene. I think they were skidding there for a little bit. I don't think that's a question, but they're 2.5 games back in Michigan. The way they've been playing, I don't think so. I don't think so.
I think they definitely have a chance if they beat Michigan tomorrow night. I think that will be a big test for them. It's going to be a great matchup too. Thinking about the front court size for Michigan, and then thinking about how Purdue is known for the big, tall bigs and
Yeah.
Trey Kaufman-Renn. It will be interesting to see how he matches up against them, and
Yeah.
seeing how Michigan does in a hostile environment. So that'll be interesting for sure.
Yeah. Good point.
Dylan, Kansas. Tell me why has Kansas seemed to have turned their season around? I mean, thinking about 2 or 3 weeks ago, 4 or 5 weeks ago, maybe sitting on the brink of being unranked. Like, what is? And then now they're up to 8. Like, what has been the change?
Red hot, man. I mean, they get blown out by Iowa State. Other than that, the last 10 games, they've been pretty much flawless. I think it's just the power of Bill Self, man. That dude can coach his butt off. Um, is it a hot take to say that like this team is just fine without Darren Peterson? They've been playing the majority of their season without him. Like, are they just fine without him at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, Melvin Council Jr. has stepped up on the offensive end for them in a big way. Like in that Arizona game, he was the guy down the stretch for them, getting the ball, penetrating in the paint, like
Yeah.
creating for others. And then the role players have been great as well. Like Bryson Tiller, like slow start for Kansas offensively. I think with the nerves and everything, that
Yeah.
big game, like he carried them in that first 10 minutes of the
Yeah.
game offensively, kept them in it. Trey White's been
Yeah.
great
Good
for
point. Yeah.
them. Even guys like Jamari McDowell, like off the bench, like they've got good pieces. I think Darren Peterson playing is just the cherry on top. Like when he is able to play and contribute offensively, like this could be a scary team to catch in March. This would be a team that like maybe they end up like as a 4 or 5 seed. If they drop a couple more games, and I would be scared to
Yeah.
play them. Like I would not want to see this team going out in March Madness.
Hmm.
Yeah. Let's see. Nebraska dropped down. I think they're kind of coming back to earth now after going
Yeah.
20-0 or 21-0. They've they've lost 3 out of their last 5. All against top 10 teams pretty much. At Michigan by 3, home against Illinois, home against Purdue. Like, I wouldn't say I'm worried about this team, but definitely like it seems like they have a capped ceiling as to like
Yeah. It's good. Yeah.
how far they can go. Like it seems like they've taken care of everyone they need to take care of. I don't think a great win at Illinois. That was probably their best win of the season. Don't know if there's a lot of substance behind the Michigan State win because I'm not very high on Michigan State, but they take care of who they need to take care of. They're competitive in these games against the big teams. I like them. I don't know. How do you feel about them? Like, do you think they're in that top tier?
I think you literally hit the nail on the head there. I agree with you
Wow.
100%.
Nice. Yeah. Well, we
Yeah.
think alike. Let's jump down to unless you got anything to say about Illinois or Gonzaga. I wanted to jump to Florida.
Yeah, it's great.
Florida, man, cemented themselves as the top team in the SEC right now.
Yeah, they're finally putting the pieces together. And it's funny because like we expected this to happen at the beginning of the season, but then we go like 14 games into the season and we're like, this team just doesn't have it. No, they do have it. Their 3-point shooting is still super, super suspect. I think they rank in the bottom 10 in the entire nation in 3-point shooting percentage wise. So that is going to cap them and kind of steal the words out of your mouth, cap the ceiling on them a little bit. But their defense is gonna be what carries them. They have a top 5 defense in the nation. They're big. They're experienced. Ruben Chenu, man, and I'm just so impressed by him. And he's an older junior senior. Is he junior or senior? I don't know, but like I would not be surprised if like teams take a serious look at him at the end of the first round, just because like he's a automatic like 8 and 10. Like he just does his job, and a lot of these guys on Florida do their job. Maybe outside of Xavier Lee and Boogie Flan, which are arguably the 2 most important positions on the basketball court. So we'll see, man. This is a fun team. I think that they are now, like you said, cemented themselves as the best team in the SEC. Will it end up like that? Who knows? But for now, I do agree they are the best team in the SEC.
Yeah, definitely worth noting Xavier Lee's performance against Kentucky. 22 points, 7 of 12 from the field, 4 of 7 from 3. Like, definitely a good game. Here's a question I got for you. Who has had more of a disappointing tenure at Kentucky or at Florida? Has it been Xavier Lee or has it been Boogie Flan?
Dude, it might be Xavier Lee, as crazy as that seems. Like I just think there was more hype around him. I think at least with Boogie Flan, he's been an average defender. I don't think Xavier Lee was coming into college or coming into the season as a plus defender. Like I just don't think he was. Like I think he's a below average defender. So yeah, I'll go Xavier Lee, man. Just kind of non-existent this year.
Yeah, I probably goes Boogie Flan more disappointing because I think what's been the most disappointing is the offensive end for both. Like,
Yeah.
they both have been sucky on the offensive end, but at least Xavier Lee has given us performances once every 10 games where it's like, all right, bro, like he scored 20. Like, I can't even,
Yeah.
I'm going to pull up Boogie Flan's
I
game
know he's had
log.
one game. He's had one game that was
Yeah,
like
he
that.
had one game against Tennessee. He had 23, 3 of 6
Yeah.
from 3. I think that it's just the 3-point
Yeah.
shooting has been so bad from him this year. Like he literally is sub 20% and he was an NBA
Ooh.
prospect. Like that's bad. That's really bad.
That's horrible. That's horrible.
Just
Yeah, that's
terrible.
bad.
Um
Yeah.
but yeah, excited about this Florida team. Honestly, I've always been big on Florida. We've talked about
Yeah,
all
you have
season,
been.
so
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, that's your team.
they should do fairly well in the SEC headed into March Madness. Let's look here. Texas Tech, Virginia, kind of staying similar. Texas Tech is. I feel like Texas Tech like always does just enough just to stay relevant in the teams.
Yeah.
But like they can't seem to like string together multiple wins. It's just like they always get that one big win and then like they'll drop one and then so.
Yeah.
Let's talk about these two teams. Probably our biggest shakers of the of this week. Both dropped 5 spots. Michigan State, UNC, two teams, man. I'm not high on Michigan State, and I'm not high on UNC after Caleb Wilson's injury. Let's start with UNC. What do you think the outlook of UNC looks like with no Caleb Wilson? Not even to mention no what's his name either. Who's the other big? Vasar. No Vasar.
Basar.
He was out this last game too. I'm not sure why, but he didn't play this last game.
Dude, you could go back at one of our earlier videos in the year. I think it was when we were reacting, maybe first or second week of movers and shakers, and I told you I was like, dude, I just don't see it with UNC. I just don't, and I think the only reason I was kind of holding out hope is because Caleb Wilson is just a special player. Dude, this team's cooked. This team, I don't even think this team is a top 25 team in the nation. I'm gonna be honest with you. Without Caleb Wilson and Henry Basar, like I don't know, bro. I am not a fan of this team, and I think the only thing that was kind of holding out hope with them is because I was a fan of Caleb Wilson, and because I also really like Henry Basar too. Now that these two dudes are out, I couldn't name you a single guy in this team that I actually do enjoy watching. So I don't know, man. Seth Trimble's got a lot of work to do with this team because they are in some deep, deep, deep trouble.
Yeah, definitely disappointed to see the loss at Miami. I mean, Miami's a great team, but losing at Miami after such a great win against Duke, that was a great game. At least that was.
That was.
Let's talk about your team here, Dill. 17 St. John's, man. Like, what a resurgence! Like, they have just put their head down and see. That's the thing is like they haven't been like all over the news and stuff. They've just like been under the radar, like put their head down and have gone to work. They are on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 game win streak since losing to Providence. Man, like I don't know what to say about this team, honestly. Like, the great win against UConn last week. Let's see, they've got 6 games left to finish out the season. At UConn will definitely be a tough one. What do you think about this team's outlook for March Madness?
Man, let's go. It feels right to finally be right, at least a little bit for once. They have, like you said, an 11-game win streak. Big East is down a little bit this year, so it's not like this is like, wow, 11 games in the Big East is unbelievable. They do have UConn coming up. They're probably not going to win that game. It's at UConn, so I don't imagine them winning that game. But this is a solid team, man. I think this is a team that could easily sneak its way into like a 4 seed that can get to like an Elite 8 appearance that like not a lot of people had on their radar. So I think the meshing of all of these talents from different angles and different schools are finally coming together. The one thing that I really like about this team is there's just no big weaknesses for them. Like it's a Rick Pitino team that's really, really solid. You look at their KenPom stuff and it's like they don't have any red across the board. They just don't have anything that they're struggling with. Like they're just a very solid team all around, and they're very heady on defense too. So I like this team, man, and it feels good to finally be right on one of these teams because it feels like I haven't been right on a lot of these teams all year. So, St. John's, man, I think that they kind of deserve to be around this range. And I like them, man. Elite 8, maybe. Sweet 16, I feel pretty good with. So.
Yeah, I think the one thing for me with them will just be shooting. I think that's always been the thing with them, shooting the 3 ball. A lot of, driving forwards with you got Bryce Hopkins and Ejiofor, however you say his name.
Yeah, Zubi short, yeah.
And then
Ian Jackson too.
And Dylan
He's
Mitchell,
driver,
like you got all 4 drivers on the floor. Like that's definitely tough. And I definitely we talked about this earlier with Arizona. Like I would prefer in March Madness if it comes down to the last 5 minutes a tie game. Like I'm preferring a team that can shoot, that can hoop, that can shoot the ball.
You're right.
And make plays.
I agree with you on that. Yep. I agree with you.
Give me your thoughts on St. Louis. I mean, 24-1. One crazy play away from being 25-0. They've kind of just taken care of business again. Like not a lot of close games. Like average margin of victory is almost 20 points a game in conference for them. Doesn't seem like they're gonna lose for the rest of the season. They don't lose going into their tournament. What do you think that their highest seeding could be?
You're saying if they go undefeated for the rest of the season, what's the highest they could be?
Like, what's the ceiling for this team ranking wise? Like,
Uh,
so yes, that is the most likely possibility. They just run the table.
4,
Wow,
5.
that would be crazy to see them get that high.
Crazy, crazy. I agree. And the thing that's different with this team, than it is with Miami is like this team actually passes like the test of the A10 is like not a high major conference, but it is a very good conference, and
Mm,
like they actually are like blowing teams out of the water. Their Ken Pom stats look terrific. Josh Schertz is an unbelievable coach. I think he's a fantastic coach. And like you said, man, they're a possession away from being 25-0. So yeah, a 4 seed if everything goes right. 5 seed is like you're feeling great. If you're St. Louis, you get a 5 seed, you're feeling great. I think 6 is probably where they'll end up realistically.
yeah. Got anything to say on Vanderbilt at 19 now? They kind of again were literally 16 and 0, 3 and 0 to start SEC. People talked about them possibly being
Yeah,
winning the SEC. They were like,
yeah,
yeah, this could be the team. 3-game lose streak, rebound with a 3-game win streak, lose a bad game to Oklahoma at home, follow it back up with 2 good wins at Auburn, home against Texas A&M. Like they're kind of just like, 21-4 and near the top of the SEC. I don't feel like they're getting the love like that they deserve for like. Then you think 21-4 top of the SEC would be ranked higher than 19th?
it's a great point, Steve. Like if they were preseason 5, do you
Mm.
think that if they're now 21-4 that they're ranked 19th in the nation? Probably not.
I mean, I think they'd be above Florida right now at least.
I agree with you. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good point.
This is really off topic. What's a way to mitigate the preseason bias? I think that's such a problem
Mm.
nowadays with just like thinking about these teams. Like they start in a spot and they move based off the games. Like, you lose a game, you go down one. If you win a game, you go up. It's in a short story, but like thinking about a team like, let me look. Let me think. Like Nebraska almost. Like it took Nebraska going 15-0 before they even got and
Yeah,
cracked in the top
yeah.
25. Um, and then you see teams like I. This is a hot take, but you're not gonna like this. BYU, like BYU has all this hype and stuff, and
Yeah.
I don't know if they should even be ranked at this point.
No, they probably shouldn't. Yeah. No, you're right. I,
Maybe
I agree with what you're saying
maybe
there.
even Alabama. So I don't know. I don't. What if you had an opinion? Like, what would you do to fix this?
I think it's just all math formulas. I think you just got to let the computers do their thing. AP poll voters are going to be super biased because they have bias because they're humans and they understand what the preseason rankings were. But like if you just look at computers and what they say based off of day one of the college basketball rating system, that's probably the best you're going to get.
Hmm.
What do you think?
I don't know. I think maybe you mentioned this before, but maybe like waiting until after like the first week to do or put out a ranking or stuff based off
Yeah.
like the stats they
Yeah.
put. But then again, that could also there's two sides of the coin. Like there was one side of like you want to properly rank people, but at the same time, after 1 week playing such a small sample size, like the Citadel blows out 2
Yeah, yeah, you're
shitty
right.
teams. Like I don't want to see Citadel in the top. I don't want to see too much movement. Is what I'm trying to say. Like I don't want to see Alabama blow 2 teams out to start the season, and they're like, oh, like the analytics say they're number one. Like look at Kim Pom.
Yeah.
Like look how much points they're scoring, and they go number
Good
one,
point.
and then the next week they don't put up the stats, and then they're out of the top 25. Like
Yeah.
something like that. I guess there's got to be this. This is the way. I don't know. Anyways, we'll move on. Arkansas, Louisville. Arkansas, Dill kind of reminds me, again, using the same analogy, of the other side of the coin of Texas Tech. When I talk about Texas Tech, like I feel like they're just doing good enough to like be at a certain spot. I feel like Arkansas is just doing enough to stay in the top 25. Like,
Yeah.
they may not be playing super well, and then they pick up one great win, and it's like, all right, they're back on
Yeah.
track. Like they got a 2 or 3 game win streak. Like everything's going well, and then it's like, oh, then we lose. Lose at Auburn, lose at Georgia. Oh, then we win against Vanderbilt, LSU, Oklahoma, put on 3-game win streak, lose against Kentucky. Oh, now we got 3 wins in a row again. At Alabama tomorrow will definitely be a tough one for them. Yeah, we'll move on from that. Dill, I want to hear your thoughts on Miami, Ohio, though.
Oh my gosh. I mean, what am I supposed to say, bro? Like, sure, they're 25 and 0, bro. This team is not a top 25 team in the nation. And it's so funny because I'm looking at like bracketology, like Joe Lenardi, and they're projecting Miami, Ohio at like an 11 seed. I'm like, how can you justify an 11 seed in the nation being a top 25 team? Just based off of math. If there's 4 teams per seed, that means they're like around 44. Like what are we even doing, bro? They do not deserve to be a top 25 team. I get that they can only play the teams ahead of them or that are on their schedule, and not everybody wants to schedule them. I wouldn't want to schedule them if I was a high major team, but like that's just the consequence of being a good mid-major team, man. You're not going to be able to play these high major teams. You're not a top 25 team in the nation. If you're going up against a Wisconsin, a BYU, and Alabama, you're not winning that game. Just straight up, you're just not going to win that game. So they've been very impressive. They have been as impressive as you can be in that position, but they're just not. They don't deserve the ranking.
I'll tell you what I think. I think I completely agree with you. They are not a top 25 team, but I feel like they deserve the recognition because regardless, we all know like the AP top 25 poll is shit. Like no one really like you look at like what voters like vote at and stuff like it's ridiculous. Like some people don't even watch like these games and stuff. They just vote.
Yeah.
It's the dumbest thing. So like yeah, like sure, go ahead. Like we'll give you a 22 spot until you lose a game and then we'll never talk about you again. Like whatever.
Yeah.
Like I don't mind it because it's like you do got to give recognition like to a conference that's like definitely like has some substance to it. With Miami, Miami of Ohio, Kent State, Akron. Like this conference has good teams, and like for them to like go still be undefeated at this point. I don't care who you are or what I don't care if you're playing in the SoCon or the SEC. You go 25-0, like you're definitely doing something right. So I'll give them credit, but I will agree with you. I watched their game against Eastern Michigan the other night. I think that's who they played. And I completely agree with you. Like this is not a top 25 team. Like they would get blown out by any team in this top 25. But like you said, I guess like the justification in it is that when we get to March Madness, I think they'll get seated where they should. Like,
okay.
Like you think an 11 seed is fair? I think that's pretty fair.
I think that's fair, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, if it is what it is, they run the table, and they're 32-0, and or whatever, and they get there. Like I'll live with that. Yeah. I'll live with them being a 10 seed, but they're not on the same level as St. Louis. Like St. Louis is by far like a different story than them, and I think that's why you've seen St. Louis climb up the rankings a little bit more. Dylan, BYU, man, what is going on? Like, I thought this was your team. I thought this was the team that was gonna save the Big 12. Like, they were gonna run the table. Like, AJ DeBonsa was gonna be the guy. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, dude, Richie Saunders. I mean, thoughts and prayers, man. BYU's done for, bro. They're done for. Unless
is he out for the season?
He tore his ACL.
Oh, he did? Oh, wow. I did not hear that. I did hear he was out. I didn't know it was in the. That sucks.
Yeah, dude, and it really sucks because like he is just a good guy. Like all 4 years at BYU, fans love him. He trusted the process, like got better every single year. So he's just a guy that's like you just hate to see it. So that's probably his career, honestly. So not feeling good, bro. That's another team that's probably cooked, just like North Carolina. I mean, yeah, DeBonsa's gonna have to average 28 a game for the rest of the season for them to even have a chance. So. Who knows, bro? I don't think the outlook looks good for them. They'll make the tournament. They'll probably make it to. They'll probably win their first game and then maybe get upset. They might not even win their first game. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, honestly, to be truthful, I think this just bodes well for AJ's draft stock going forward. I think this is just going to open up so many opportunities. I think he's going to be averaging at least 25 shots a game, at least.
No, that's actually that's funny you say that. I saw a stat that said like when Richie Saunders is on the court, AJ DeBonsa's usage percentage is 30%, which is like high. But then when he's off the court, it's 38%, which is like extremely high. So yeah, AJ's gonna have the ball in his hands a lot. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yep. Dill, I want to go ahead and just put this out there with my take that has absolutely just been flushed down the toilet. Texas A&M, man. RIP, my Texas A&M take. I was really high on them. They were absolutely killing it. Thought this was going to be like, you know, they thought this was going to be it for them. I thought this was going to be where they turned the corner. Oh, they have struggled recently. They have lost 4 in a row. It all started with a close loss at Alabama. Like it was like that was the
Yeah.
game. That was the game where they could cement themselves. I think if they won that
Yeah.
game, they would have been ranked no matter what happened against Florida on that Saturday. But man,
Yeah.
like talk about just disappointing loss after disappointing loss. Like lost to Florida at home or at Florida. Um, against home Missouri, 1 point loss at Vanderbilt. They do have a chance to rebound though with Ole Miss and Oklahoma coming up these next 2 games, like and then Texas, Kentucky, LSU to finish their season. Like they definitely have a chance to. I could say they could run the table. Like 6-0 is definitely in the possibility for them, but
Yeah.
oof, like man, like I thought this was gonna be a Cinderella March Madness team. We'll get into the bracketology in a different video, but yeah, kind of just disappointed in my take in general.
I mean, I think I'm looking at Ken Palm. They're projected to finish 5-1 in the last 6 games. If you were to tell me that A&M goes, what, 12-6 in SEC play, dude, that's a good year. That's a good year for a
Yeah,
first year head coach in the SEC. So,
yeah, definitely agree with you there. You got anything to say on some others receiving votes? You want to talk about Miami maybe deserving a little bit of
yeah,
love?
actually, good call. I think Jay Lucas, man, up for debate with one of the best coaches in the nation in terms of the rise that he's had. This team is really fun to watch, man. Huge win, NC State, a huge win at NC State this week. Just a really solid team. Looking at their Ken Palm, don't have any red other than their free throw percentage. They got to get that up, I guess, work at that in practice. But it's a fun team, man. And I think that they have a chance to sneak into a top 25 later down the line if they can win a couple games. They got Virginia Tech at home. After that, a real test, Virginia on the road. That's a tough place to win at. So if they can somehow pull that off, I would not be surprised at all if they're ranked next week.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Well, Dill, it's always been fun. Always love catching up with you on some movers and shakers. Um, yeah, excited, man. Excited for coming March Madness. Can't wait to really like get into some March Madness stuff with bracketology
Yeah.
stuff. That's that first bracketology is starting to come out. Go check
Yep.
out that video. I'm about to post it after this one. Um,
Go.
react to our takes, but appreciate y'all listening in. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks, guys.